So how did we get into this mess in the first place? Like this whole obesity epidemic that people talk about. We didn't just wake up as a society and realize, oh my gosh, everyone is struggling with their weight, let's do something now. It's been there basically in front of our face for years. And yet we haven't really made any progress. We're stuck in neutral. And why are we stuck in neutral? Mostly because we're trying the same old, which hasn't worked. I mean, no one watching this is probably old enough to remember Jack LaLanne, but we've had healthcare gurus, fitness gurus in this country for 60 years or so, if not more. Richard Simmons, maybe people know, but it hasn't worked. And why? Because we've been looking at it the wrong way from the very get-go. So here we are. I'm Dr. Evan. I am a pediatric bariatric surgeon. I've been taking care of kids with obesity for over 20 years. And we're here to make some changes. Let's change the way we think about this disease so we can actually make a difference. Because obesity is not a lifestyle choice, it's a disease, and there's stuff we can do about it. So where are we? Or how did we get here? Or both? So where we are is that obesity rates are stable, super high. 40% of the country has obesity of adults. And they've plateaued. Maybe slightly down with the invention of these new medications, but that could also just be a statistical variation and it might go right back up the next years. So, not sure. And actually, people with severe obesity are growing in number. And children with obesity, that's the category that's growing the most. So even if the overall obesity rates are stable or stable-ish or even declining a little bit, those who have the worst form of the disease are growing. So clearly there is more work to do. So childhood obesity, again, is obviously, I think, is the key to the puzzle, to understanding it all. And childhood obesity rates have actually grown. They're 10 times higher now than they were in 1975. And again, you don't go from one number in 1975 to 10 times that number in 2025, over 50 years, without there being a progression along the way. And yet, most of the interventions in that progression have been eat less or eat healthier and exercise more. The whole topic of obesity treatment has really been pushed to the background. But now that there are these new medications that are actually achieving a great amount of weight loss, the conversation is starting to happen. Oprah did a primetime special, South Park episode, it's getting there. So there's hope. We have some hope on the horizon, but we still got a long way to go. And most people demonize the food and beverage industry and talk about processed foods, ultra-processed foods, sugar. And that's actually fair. They did contribute a whole bunch to where we are now, right? If you pick up a loaf of Wonder Bread at the supermarket, you'll see it has sugar in it. And why does bread have sugar in it? I have no idea. Who needs bread that's sweet? But I guess as Americans, maybe we do. Some conspiracy theorists will suggest that because sugar is addictive, that's why it's in there, so that we all get addicted to it and buy more. But I'm not going to go there. Could be true, maybe not. Don't know. But the reality is that we just can't reverse everything that's happened in time and expect the obesity epidemic to go away. So even if we reverted back to the 1950s and had perfect food and everybody ate healthy and everybody exercised as much as they were supposed to, while that could potentially help for generations to come from preventing obesity, it's not going to do a thing for those of you who already have obesity now. So we got to focus on what can we do now to help people. And that's why obesity treatment is so important. And that's why obesity treatment is obesity prevention, because if you treat obesity now, you're going to prevent obesity in the future. You'll prevent obesity being transmitted from parents to their kids in the future. And it's never been part of the obesity epidemic strategy for the past 50 years, in part because we didn't have great interventions to make it happen. But we've been trying the same thing. We've been trying diet and exercise for 60, 50 years, whatever it is. And yet we are still here where we are today. People out there might remember or might be on fad diets. I don't really want to go into that in detail, but if you want to hear more about that, let me know, and we can definitely do an episode on the fad diets. But just know that when the government said everything should be low fat, that didn't help. When everything was meant to be artificial sweeteners, that didn't help. There are people who say we should all just be plant-based diets. Help some, not everybody, in fact, doesn't help most. So, and intermittent fasting, another sort of mirage. All the diets help to a certain degree. None of them cure obesity by themselves for most people. And it just goes back to the point that obesity is not a lifestyle choice. It's not about how you choose to eat or how you choose to live your life. It's a disease that needs to be treated, and that's what we're here for. So we're going to talk about how much this obesity epidemic costs us as a nation, because it costs us a lot. It doesn't cost you just personally for your health and your well-being, but it costs the society a ton. So if you like what you're hearing, tune into the next video. As always, give me some feedback, post some comments, share the info with people, subscribe to the channel, like, dislike, whatever you want. We're in this all together. We're all in this together. So the more you provide feedback, the better it is for me, because I can figure out whether I'm helping you or not. So hopefully you'll join us as we talk about the overall cost to society, some staggering numbers that make it so that we should all care about it. So even get your people, your friends who are just taxpayers to watch the next episode, because it's all about the Benjamins, as they used to say. All right, see you next time.